Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. I'm sorry the air conditioning's running, but it's really hot out, so you're going to be able to hear that noise in the background. It is what it is. This is my Glock 42. And people will ask all the time, why do you want to carry a Glock 42? At least get a Glock 43. That's 9mm. That's not 380. I shot the Glock 43s, and just hard to get follow-up shots with it in a timely fashion to break those shots in really fast splits, like bam, 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 bam. You just can't do it. You'll just miss. It's just got too much recoil. It's such a tiny gun with so much more of a powerful round, and I would honestly rather have 3 or 4 380s go and hit their target right in center mass than have 1 9 hit and 3 miss, right? You know, it's only the shots that hit that are going to count. And I've gotten really good with this gun. I've shot in thousands and thousands of rounds through it. I'm a reloader, so I reload my own ammunition, and I just shoot with it. Some things I've done. I used to have this hook grip on here. I don't like it because I keep having problems with it sliding up, sliding down. It'll get in the way of putting the magazines in, and it will not, you know, allow you to insert magazines until you get out there and move it, and then it'll twist on the gun too, so you're not getting a good grip. So I've shot enough guns now. Yeah, the Hogue grip does help you hold it just a little bit better, but I've shot enough tiny crappy guns that I'll be able to shoot this just fine. I shoot this very well. I can make the 25-yard shots to a half-size target at the back of the range and land them all in the fatal funnel. But you know, I have to slow way down when I'm taking those shots and really line up the sights and focus on how my trigger is going to break. When you're closer, you can hit it a little faster. You don't have to be as precise. That's just something that you learn over time. I put the Streamlight TLR6 on here, so that's just a light. And that's just so that if it's at night and I'm going to shoot somebody, I carry another light so that if I need to look around, see where somebody is, I can use this light. But if I'm getting ready to shoot and it's dead at night and I don't know for sure, like 100%, if that's a threat, if that's a drunk neighbor, if that's a kid that got drunk and is coming home to the wrong house, you know, I don't know. I want to be able to light up that target and see what's going on before I shoot and make a really, really bad mistake. You know, I like having my light on my gun. This light is not extremely bright, but it is bright enough that at night you're going to see what you're shooting. If it's within, I'd say 25 feet, it's going to light it up just fine. It'll light it up enough beyond that, but 25 feet, this is good bright light. The other thing that I've done to this gun is I added this extended, I guess that's a slide lock and slide release. I mean, it's not this thing here that releases the slide for cleaning. It's this part that locks it open on the last round. I did that because, well, I messed up the first time I took the trigger out of this to clean it, and I hammered this out on the other side. I hammered whatever it was. I hammered it out with a punch, and I bent this, and then it wouldn't hold the slide open anymore. My Glock armorer was able to bend it back and get it working with the factory mags. But I'll go ahead and take these rounds out of this magazine here. But it wouldn't work with these. These are the special followers I got, and they are by Mag Guts. This allows you to hold one extra round in your magazine. And so it still, the old one, before I took it out, it did lock the slide open, but then it wouldn't. So I found this online somewhere and I bought it, but it also has this little bump, this little standout on it there, and that little bump really helps you when you gotta push up to lock the slide open. It really just gives you a little more grip. Now, I don't normally close the slide with this, and I can if I really try, but I mean, I would if I had to shoot one-handed or something and I'm doing a one-handed reload, sure. But even then, I'm gonna try to find something solid to just hit the gun on like this and, you know, do that. But if I had to, I would use that. Right now, but holding it open, it works great. That just, you know, I don't really like doing the slide release thing. I usually do that with my other hand, right? So it's got that. Other than that, it's all factory. It's shot thousands and thousands of rounds. It still works great. I really don't have any problems with it. Now, my ammo that I reload for just plinking range ammo, I use these, I think they're Argentinian primers, right? Because I can get them for $33 for a box of 1,000. So I use those because they're cheap, just to go out and plink with. You know, I have my box of 380 there that I keep loaded up, and I'll go out and shoot a few hundred rounds. I also have these that I'm going to shoot up that are made with these primers, right? Because I needed to load some more defensive rounds, and at the time I didn't have access to any primers but these, and I paid a lot for them because we went through the primer and ammo shortage. And I loaded this up with old reloaded, you know, brass rather than the new brass because I didn't have access to anybody that had any new brass in stock. So, but I'm gonna just shoot these up with my range plinking ammo now. But let me pull them out here. Okay, so this is what I use when I reload for the rounds that I carry. And yes, I do shoot the rounds that I reload. I just like them, they're accurate. I use the Everglades 95 grain jacketed hollow point bullet. I use new Starline brass, and I use a CCI primer, and they just work really well for me. I don't load them super hot. I put jacketed hollow point 95 grain. I put 3.4 grains of accurate number 2 and crumped them to 0.965. And then my normal 95 grains, I only put 3.3, but honestly, I a lot of times put 3.1 or 3.2 in them, just because they shoot about as well for practicing and plinking, and I'm saving a little bit of powder, right? Because powder is expensive. I got all my powders that I'm using currently up there, and then I got some more over here, and I have a whole bunch more in ammo cans over here. So I do keep pretty well stocked up on powder. And yeah, you can buy the big 5-pound or 10-pound jugs or whatever. I don't. I just buy these little guys. Just because every once in a while I can go and spend 30-40 bucks on a thing of powder at Cabela's. And buying those great big ones that, you know, you have to lay out hundreds of dollars at once. And I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that. I like to just buy things. I get my primers from Republic Ammo in Middletown. Now, they do charge hazmat shipping, so you may not want to get them there. However, they are in Lima, Ohio, and I regularly go to Lima, Ohio for work, so I will stop by and just pick them up. But I have had them shipped to me before, when sometimes they run specials where with over $100 order you get like free hazmat. Maybe it's $150, and I'll just order some primers from them. And then I get my brass is from Everglades, and the new brass, I should say, is from Cabela's. The recycled brass or reused brass that I clean and reload is from Everglades. And then I get my powder from Cabela's normally. It's just what I do. But this magazine is my extra one. So this I can carry 7 plus 1 in the chamber, so that gives me 8 shots, right? And this will hold 8. This has the Pierce grip plus 1. They do make a plus 2, but it's a little bit longer. The Pierce grip plus 1 and the Med Guts follower is in this one, so it will hold 8. I have found that these magazines have been 100% reliable since I've done these modifications to them. They haven't failed one bit. I normally do put my initials on the magazine. This one I need to put my initials on. I guess I just haven't done that, but I normally do that so that when I'm training with a bunch of people in a class and we're throwing mags on the floor, I can quickly see which ones are mine for sure. I'm not picking up other people's mags. They're not accidentally picking up mine. Because, you know, a lot of times when you're doing training in a class, you just want to go shoot, right? And you drop all your mags and you let the next person shoot, the next person shoot. And then you all go clean up the range, pick up your mags, reload, get ready for the next drill, right? So, you know, they're trying to just get people through there. So a lot of times I always do this. If I didn't have this, I just put a piece of tape on there with my initials, but I'll have to get the label maker out and label that one. But yeah, so I really like the Glock 42. It's just big enough that you can shoot it really well. With the proper focus, watching the sights, you know, lining up your sight picture, trigger on it's good enough, you can shoot it really well. It's just small enough that you can conceal it easily. You have the Ruger LCP Max. It holds more rounds and it's a little bit smaller. But I had one. I couldn't shoot that thing for crap. You know, I maybe got out 20, 25 feet with it, and then it was all over the place, right? And a lot of tiny 380s are like that. This is a gun that you'll be able to shoot it. You'll be able to shoot it very well. But it will be small enough that you can conceal it. And it might not be as concealable as a Ruger, what is that, the LCP or whatever, I don't know. It's a Ruger 380s or whatever, or the Taurus TCP, or they have a new one, a Spectrum or something. Now, I had one of those. That was a piece of crap. I sold it. It might not be as small as that, but it's small enough that you can conceal it well and it'll still work. Now, I'm a fat guy and I like to carry in my pocket. And I know, like, carrying in your pocket's not good, because if you're sitting down when you're driving, you won't be able to get your gun. You should appendix carry. I'm a fat guy. I don't appendix carry, right? I got enough up front. I don't need any more, right? So I pocket carry, but I also carry a backup gun in an ankle, right? And it's a really tiny little backup gun that I carry in my ankle. So if I'm sitting, I can get to that. Like, ankle carry is really bad from a tactical perspective of if you're standing up and fighting, right? It's really good if you're sitting down, right? So all of the methods that you're going to carry have positives and negatives, right? You know, appendix carry is really fast, really easy to get access, but you might accidentally shoot your stuff off. You know, they all have positives and negatives, right? I just like the pocket carry. I have this Tagula holster that I removed the stitching in right here, so that will fit in there with the light. So I'll put it in. It just slides in there like that. I have this string that I run back up my pocket, and then I loop this around my belt a few times. and that's in case I go to draw this gun and it won't come out. Well, it'll catch this string and it'll pull it out of the holster. Let me take it back out. There we go. Just so that you don't pull it out with the holster still on it. That seems to work really well for me. I have an outside the waistband holster that I have to do training with. It's not feasible really to train with the pocket holster like in class. You can practice with it, but training, it's just, you're going to be holstering and unholstering that weapon so much that you can't dig this out of your pocket, tuck the gun back in it, put it back in your pocket every single time. So I have a nice outside the waistband holster and a nice gun belt that I wear for training. It's just, you'd like to train how you carry, but it's just not feasible. But you can practice how you carry. I also have a airsoft Glock 42 that I can practice with at home. So I have this guy, right? And he doesn't have the light on him. But I will practice with this guy when I'm at home. And I have a little airsoft range so I can practice from home. All right, and this doesn't give you the recoil, so follow-up shots aren't the thing to practice with this. It's, hey, I need to draw from concealment and present my gun as fast as possible. Let's get into that, sub-second draw, getting it faster. So I really like this. But that's what I do. I mean, I have lots of guns, but I try to really train and practice with the guns that I typically carry. So I usually show up for a class, like it's a new class, new instructor in a new city, and they're like, Glock 42, what are you carrying stupid little 380 for? Everybody in class laughs at you, right? Because they have their great big 1911s and Glock 19s and all these big guns, right? And there's very little recoil on those, and they can shoot them fast and they can shoot them well. They got a longer sight radius, right? But they're not going to stick that in their pocket and carry it with them when they got to run up to McDonald's, right? When they got to run up to the gas station, they're going to grab a little tiny gun and stick it in their pocket and run up to the gas station. And they're not training with the gun they're carrying. I try to train with what I carry as much as possible. So that's just what's going on with my Glock 42 and how I do it. And yes, I know you might get accused of making extra super killer rounds and stuff if you have to go to court for loading your own ammo. There's two things. One is defensive ammo, right? I like to shoot it and practice and train with it, right? Because that's the ammo you're going to use. So I have 100 rounds loaded with the cheap primers, same bullet, same load, that I can test and practice with. And I also, you're looking at like $50 for a box of 20, It's like, that's crazy, because I'm not going to trust any round. I'm not going to trust any round to carry it unless I've fired at least a couple hundred rounds. And I know they work reliably in my gun. So I can't afford that. I load it with this in the new Starline brass, and the CCI primer is a moderate load, and we'll just have to hope. If I ever do have to use my gun, we don't have a prosecutor saying I'm just making the killer bullets. I load my own bullets. I can load super killer ones or whatever, but we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, I know that is a risk. You should probably carry the same rounds that law enforcement carry. The problem is, law enforcement has somebody else buy their bullets. They don't have to buy them themselves. Government's buying them. You're buying them with your tax money. They're not paying for them, right? So, yeah, you're so busy paying taxes for them to buy their bullets that you can't afford the good bullets. But, that's just what I do. So, anyway, yeah, there's all my different reloading supplies and stuff over here. I have a bunch of different supplies, you know. And there's my little plastic pellets to shoot out of that little airsoft Glock 42. But yeah. All right, folks, this is Tom, your Frugal Prepper. I will talk to you all later.